Welcome back, guys. Straight into the grand finals. Spawning here in the top left, the Chinese champ himself, the Red Terran, Mihu.
And spawning on the top left. Wait, no, we didn't change yet.
Nope.
It's still Mihu.
Oh, he's a Chinese observer, that's why.
Oh, here we go. Spawning on the top right, it is XuanXuan.
Nice.
All right. We started this a little bit faster than what I expected. I was not quite ready to go into it, but you know what? we made the best of it.
Yeah, we were just in the Discord call talking about like Mulus micro and hotkeys and stuff, and all of a sudden Zero's like, okay, we're in the game, let's go.
Yeah, there wasn't even a time to. Oh, okay, welcome back, everyone. It's just like, oh, okay. Both players have literally already started.
Nice, nice. Okay, well, let's see if either one of these guys want to be a little bit sneaky with a bunker expand. We saw that in game number 1 from XuanXuan in the previous series. Let's see if he wants to go gasless yet again, or if he is going to be throwing down the gas. No gas from XuanXuan. We are going to be having that game number 1 bunker expand yet again.
That is an oddly predictable move from an unpredictable player. Like, is that just something he does every series against Mihu? He always opens like gasless first game.
Well,
is that why Mihu kind of had his number there?
Does that make him predictably unpredictable or unpredictably predictable?
Predictably unpredictable. Which I think is worse. I think predictably unpredictable is much worse.
I think so. And a quick SCV scout from Mihu. He's going to actually get a little bit of a slowdown potentially on this SCV. Actually doesn't. He got a bit lucky with the SCV going into the center, which means the Marine will be out in time to save the day and stop any slowdown on this CC timing. So despite getting the first scout, no slowdown was ascertained.
Yeah, Mihu, I think, wanted to delay the command center just a little bit, but despite basically scouting as soon as conceivably possible, he doesn't quite get the minor harassment he wanted. But knowing this is like opening the same way as before, I really wonder if Mihu's going to try to go for the same answer as he did the last game. And I wonder if XuanXuan this time around feels a lot more confident. He kind of analyzed game number 1 and he knows exactly how he's supposed to play it.
Yeah, maybe he's got a different style of combating what Mihu went for in that game number 1 in the previous series. Throwing down his own CC, and the natural now is Mihu. So far, pretty normal, and he's not getting a quick machine shop. He is going to be producing a vulture first.
Okay, so that's, I guess, a little bit of a deviation from game number 1, was it?
Yeah.
So I think he is going to be a little bit safer this time around, and maybe won't let Mihu get the contain right away that easily. The barracks is, of course, going to land next to the bunker in case Mihu is going to go for any kind of vulture-based aggression. And I think Mihu is pretty happy to take his own command center, and I don't think he's going to be that far behind.
Yeah, seems like Mihu wants to primarily shut down the scouting here of XuanXuan. He put a lot of effort into catching that SCV scout in transit towards the southern hemisphere of the map, and now he knows that because of the bunker expand, it's unlikely that XuanXuan will commit his barracks to scout anytime soon. So there is a scouting advantage for Mihu. He's going to try and poke in here a little bit with his barracks, force an unload on the bunker to try and ward away this barracks with those Marines, but there's no timing to punish. There is a supply depot to finish that wall off, so there's no chance of running by with the vulture or anything like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the punish, or not the punish, sorry, the advantage for Mihu in this situation is that he gets the barracks to be able to scout, but he isn't able to scout too far because there are 3 Marines. Marines can quite easily dispatch of a barracks. There's kind of a weird numbers game that goes on in TVT where if you only build 1 Marine, then the barracks basically scouts your entire base for 3. If you build 2 Marines, it can go in and out, but if you have 3 Marines, then the barracks can't even enter. Like, that's just kind of how the timing works, I guess, in this matchup.
Yeah, and XuanXuan is changing things up. He's going to be going for a Vulture War style with 4 factories Mihu is going to be containing him with some mines, but this is definitely a deviation from the variables we saw in that game number 1 bunker expand. This might throw Mihu off a little bit.
Yeah, this kind of is the exact type of deviation that I was at least expecting from XuanXuan. Like I didn't expect him to do the exact same thing as last game, but this time around I think he could really catch Mihu off guard if Mihu's really expecting the same game to play out, game number 1, which I feel like you really shouldn't expect if your opponent lost that game. Like they've got to come up with something different this time around, right?
Yeah, he's going to check with the Marine, sees that there's mines there. Marine's coming out to try and do damage to the barracks yet again, but now loses 2 Marines for his effort. He is going to get maybe some SCV damage, but that does force XuanXuan's hand to reveal the Vulture War tech. Now Mihu can try and turtle up, and with these tanks back at home, he's actually starting to move out with these tanks a little bit, kind of setting up a forward position. It's a little bit risky because you can sometimes get these tanks surrounded and mined up, but at this stage, there won't be a critical mass of vultures to really overwhelm those tanks initially.
Yeah, I think that is ultimately the right move here from Mihu. I mean, if he didn't know that XuanXuan was going to go for the vulture war play, he might have just been content with sitting his tanks back at home until he's gotten some kind of critical mass to be able to push out. But because that's not because XuanXuan's forced to reveal his hand, he knows that there is the risk that he gets contained. So placing his tanks a bit far forward is going to prevent the vultures from doing that. But now here's the risky part: the vultures are going to come up here and try to lay some mines, but the tanks are actually doing a really good job of retreating. A couple of them target firing the mines down, and XuanXuan loses basically half his vultures for nothing.
Wow, and I mean, he's got scans, man. He can move out with these tanks and go on the aggression. XuanXuan trying to lay down some mines in the wake of his retreat. Has got a couple of vultures to escort these tanks to shoot down the mines as he traverses, but he might want to be a little bit more cautious and stay back for the time being, at least until he gets more vultures for escort and also to prevent run-bys from XuanXuan.
There was one unexploded mine that just completely waltzed past. But with 6 tanks and a decent amount of vultures, I feel like even without scan, mines shouldn't really pose a threat. Of course, when you lay mines aggressively, that's an entire different issue because there's vultures that the tanks are going to prioritize. But Mihu actually doing an amazing job of target firing the mines before they can explode. His micro is just completely on point.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of mine sweeping, man. He's getting more and more ground now towards the center of the board. There is a bit of a run-by attempt here from XuanXuan to see if he can maybe snipe an SCV or 2. Does intercept the SCV that's trying to take this third base, does get the kill on that, and now kind of has confirmation that Mihu's intention is to take that third base. Throwing down his own third base right now is XuanXuan. He's got some Goliaths out as well to help his siege tank line. Goliaths are really good in TBT when the unit counts are in low number.
All right, Mihu actually going for a very aggressive play here. He's going to come barreling down into this siege line here. He does manage to pick off 2 tanks. A couple more actually wander in a bit too far forward. They're going to back up in siege. And Mihu actually taking a very, very forward position here in the middle of the map, going to put on a lot of pressure.
Ooh, he does actually lose that siege tank in that trade, even without having vision advantage from that barracks. But there's a pretty good start for Mihu to kick things off. He's probably going to find a way of going in here yet again. Scans ahead of time and launches the assault with vultures distracting and good target firing on the back line of tanks. Takes every single unit out from XuanXuan besides a vulture and a Goliath. Right now, XuanXuan trying to power up his factory count, going up to 6, but Mihu's already done the heavy lifting and has started to win out the trades. A bit of a counterattack from XuanXuan. Has got a vulture coming over to the third base to get a slowdown on this CC yet again.
Man, I don't know how Mihu does it, but I feel like even in this game, I kind of forgot that the person with the build order advantage was actually XuanXuan. He should technically be ahead in terms of economy, but it does seem like he's lagging behind in terms of unit count and a lot of other things. Mihu is actually pushing forward, kind of showing us how it's done, how you're supposed to break siege lines at this stage of the games. But it's mostly just because he has so many good units out onto the field. He's just able to smash any kind of defense XuanXuan puts up. And once again, he sieges forward with vultures in front to distract the shots from the defending siege tanks. And I think once again, he's going to completely blast open XuanXuan's position.
Yeah, I think XuanXuan might be dead. He's going to cut off the reinforcement line to that natural third base. So Mihu's either going to win straight up by overwhelming the tanks or just be able to rotate over to knock out this third base while containing XuanXuan. An absolute masterclass here from Mihu, just proving how important tempo is in StarCraft. Doesn't matter if your opponent has an economic edge, if you're not able to leverage it. Look at XuanXuan right now. He's leaning back in his chair and stretching his arms. He's completely given up. He's just thinking about the next game.
Oh my gosh, dude. His hand isn't even on the keyboard, man. He's just so checked out. This is actually devastating to watch. I feel like XuanXuan really thought this game might go a lot differently from the first game, given how differently they opened. And he was maybe thinking that the extra factory would catch him off guard. But unfortunately, that is not at all how things played out. And Mihu just completely turning like what we think is supposed to be a disadvantage state for him into just a commanding victory.
I mean, Mihu's just outclassing XuanXuan. There's no easy way to slice it, RiceHat. He's just a better gamer and a far more accomplished TVT player than XuanXuan is. This is XuanXuan's weakest matchup, and he might have an okay time on the ladder against lesser Terrans, but Mihu is an absolute powerhouse. Looks like one last hoorah here from XuanXuan, trying to break out, but he does tap out. GG is caught, and Mihu leading this series 2-0 because of that one game advantage from breaking through into the grand finals from that winner bracket. Very convincing from Mihu. This could be a 4-0 stomp at this rate.
Yeah, I feel like just mentally, XuanXuan already looks completely just checked out. Like he does not seem happy at this moment. And now that I'm like kind of thinking about it, I feel like TVT really kind of gets in the way of what XuanXuan's preferred playstyle might be, right? He likes putting on the aggression, but there's like a very specific way you have to play if you're going to go aggressive in Terran versus Terran. You can't do it in like the same way as you can in Zerg or Terran versus Zerg or Terran versus Protoss.
I really feel like maybe he just doesn't like to do it, but I really feel like he needs to start utilizing a starport, whether that's 2-port Wraith or just a 1-1-1 build. I feel like if he starts opening up with a starport and changing things up, that might be the ticket to winning out against Mihu, at least one or two of these games. But doesn't seem like he likes making that building. It seems like he much prefers just, you know, a crazy high count of factories to try and overwhelm, but it's not working against Mihu. I think he needs to change it up, but he might be too stubborn to.
That kind of like massed factory play with like a lot of units just pushing out at an unexpected timing may work against Terrans and may work against Protoss and Zergs, may work against lesser Terran players, but against Mihu, you're going to have to pull out something a little bit more unique, a little bit more different. Because Mihu is just so good at that ground Terran versus Terran game.
Yeah, it does look like Mihu's style counters XuanXuan, and he's also got more ability overall in TVT. This is going to be a rough one. He's going to have to get creative if he wants to maintain aggression going forward. We're going to be going into Polestar, which is also Mihu's map pick here. Technically game number 2, but already has that 2-0 advantage from getting through into that winner bracket. So XuanXuan's only got 2 more lifelines that he can use until he's completely out of it.
Now that I'm looking at it, Radion is a very interesting pick out of XuanXuan. I mean, Dominator and Metropolis, I think, are both a little bit more unorthodox maps, and they might favor the more aggressive player. Actually, now that I think about it, because Radion is such like a wide open map in the middle, maybe that would maybe that favors XuanXuan's playstyle of just like massed move outs. Not really sure.
So we're jumping right into the action, guys. Game number 2 between XuanXuan and Mihu on Polestar. Let's get it. Spawning here in the bottom right, the Chinese champ, currently 2-0 in the series. Mihu, that red Terran.
That is Mihu, yes. It is Mihu. It's still Mihu.
Oh,
Man, what are the introductions that the
There we
Chinese
go.
casters are giving? They're like, oh, spawning in the bottom right with the red Terran. What? They completely skipped over
missed it. You
XuanXuan.
missed it. You missed it. You had your opportunity and you blew it.
No, oh, dude, I thought they were gonna stick on XuanXuan for just as long, but no, they just went
Naive.
right back. They gave Mihu like a 5-minute introduction, and then it's like, yeah, and that's XuanXuan.
Yeah, this is just some guy over there. Don't worry about him. The real guy, the champion, down here in the bottom right. Mihu looking handsome and dapper, and the guy in his buff robe on the other side of
Not
the
even
map
fully
having a
in
hard
the
time.
screen of the webcam.
I think he wants to get away from this series as much as possible.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that might be it. We're gonna have to see if XuanXuan can really pull something, because so far it just kind of seems like his TVT playstyle is, if I build an extra factory, maybe they won't notice, right? But it doesn't seem to be working out for him at all.
Not against someone of Mihu's caliber. I'm sure he's winning ladder games with it. I'm sure this is successful, you know, outside of top level Terran play. But yeah, you're not going to be having such a good time against the champ himself. This guy is an absolute machine through and through. He almost looks a little bit like Light in terms of just the lack of emotion, just being dialed in, laser focus. We see a lot more emotion from XuanXuan, whereas Mihu is just locked into the game.
I don't know if it's just me. Why does it seem like aggressive players tend to show their emotion more on their camera? Meanwhile, players who are like just machines, just macro players, tend to just look like machines as well.
Well, because, you know, they don't give in to their primal instincts. You know, they don't try and make excuses. They know what's up. They know the game's pretty balanced. You just need to not be such a whiny so-and-so, RiceHat.
I see what you mean. Okay, so it looks like XuanXuan once again going to go for the factory expand game number 2. Mihu doing the same. They're both cross spawn. A lot of this seems to be mirroring what we're seeing in the first series, but I wonder if XuanXuan is going to try and pull something different, or if the different thing he's going to pull is that he's just going to play it standard.
I think is that 2 factory. I think yeah, that's 2 factories.
Oh wait,
here.
yeah, the barracks is floating. Okay, so I thought, okay, my brain kind of farted a little bit. I saw the barracks come down, but I didn't register that the building on top is not a barracks. It's actually 2 factories instead of factory barracks. But unfortunately, Mihu actually sees that immediately. Sees that there's no command center. Oh my gosh, this is I don't think this Q fact is gonna go play as well as it did against Bonyth.
Is gonna go from bad to worse. Oh, I think that was like an engine, an armory there that he's cancelled. He might have been considering making some Goliaths. Goliaths can be really good aggressively in the early game TVT, but looks like he's kind of trying to mind game Mihu a little bit, representing that Goliath build, but actually going to be deviating and canceling that just as the scout dies.
Unfortunately, I think Mihu has accounted for that. He's building, he's basically walling off his natural, which is what you want to do against vultures. So even with that deviation, I feel like it's going to be a difficult game for XuanXuan. Actually, wait, double machine shop? Is he getting both upgrades at the same time, or is he going tanks?
You'd have to wonder it's tanks. I think it has to be tanks. Yeah, he's going to eventually go siege mode. Oh my god. He gets in, sees the cancel building, going to be punishing the SCVs. And because there's tanks making, it takes so long to pop out. So he's actually going to lose quite a few SCVs before finally clearing up this vulture, man. Oh, it's a bad day to be XuanXuan.
Man, it feels like every possible thing that could be going wrong is just going wrong for XuanXuan all the time. Like only when he plays against Mihu. Like he dominated against Bonyth, but against Mihu, he just can't seem to get a break.
Well, it's hard to be aggressive in TVT. There's definitely room for it, but it takes a lot more finesse and class to actually pull it off. You sometimes see really hyper-aggressive Terran plays, but the thing is that they're not necessarily hyper-aggressive players. They're mixing in the aggressive builds because they're able to represent a standard macro game as well. But when you pretty much always go for aggression, it's going to make it easier for Mihu to decipher what he needs to do to counteract that.
Yeah, and Mihu is more than ready. He has 2 tanks sieged up outside his natural and a bunker. If they maintain equal tank count, there's no way XuanXuan will be able to attack into this, and he's on 1 base and Mihu's on 2.
Yeah, I mean, XuanXuan even has 4 SCVs on gas. Like, things are not going well right now for XuanXuan. And we have a starport coming out from Mihu, so he's going to be going for a bit of air superiority as well, potentially with some Wraith play to help get a kill on this barracks and have total vision advantage and also chip away at the tank count of XuanXuan. XuanXuan slipping forward, though, does pick off one of the tanks of Mihu in his trench position. He does have a higher tank count overall. There is a little bit of potential here for XuanXuan to find a favorable position.
But now that Mihu has 3 tanks at the ready, I think it's going to be increasingly harder to push in. He still isn't within shelling range of the command center yet, so Mihu is doing a good job of delaying this push, and the longer he delays it for, the more likely he is to be able to eke out a victory.
Yeah, there are 2 Marines to help ward away the first Wraith, but there also is a tank on red HP for XuanXuan, which will be really easy for Mihu to pick off with that Wraith when it finally does come into play.
Yeah, I think a Wraith is actually a very smart response here from Mihu. You know that your opponent is hurting for gas, so they just don't have the money to spare for anything like Goliaths or Wraith of their own. The only thing XuanXuan can really do is start building turrets to try and contain. But I really think that XuanXuan needs to do a lot more than just contain.
Yeah, Mihu also going to kill off the egg, so he's got better circulation to get out here and challenge this. He wants to try and establish a strong beachhead where, you know, he's got the vision advantage, so he can get rid of this barracks and have a vision over the tanks of XuanXuan, so he can set up firing positions outside of the vision range of XuanXuan and then be able to shoot the tanks first, like we're seeing here. Slight miscalculation though from Mihu, only 1 tank in firing position, but it doesn't matter. He still manages to trade out ahead because once the tank dies, he can no longer return fire anymore, and this is still really heavily favoring Mihu. Now the Wraiths coming into play in such a big fashion, giving him the vision advantage and also chipping away at the tank line of XuanXuan.
Yeah, for those who don't know, unupgraded siege tanks 3-shot each other, but the first 2 shots basically put the tanks at 1 HP, so it only takes an extra Wraith shot to be able to finish the job. So the math actually works out very well here for Mihu. This is a very smart move for him to go Wraiths to try and break out of this.
Yeah, I mean, XuanXuan's going to eventually have a Goliath showing up, but not before conceding yet another tank to the Wraiths of Mihu. And now Mihu will break out from this contain, and the one advantage of map control that XuanXuan had has just evaporated. Mihu doesn't even need to attack. He can just take a 3rd base behind this and call it a day. Looks like he's thinking about the 3 o'clock base, so he can get a pretty easy to defend gas expansion online. This is looking rough for XuanXuan, man. He is almost 30 supply behind.
Man, if I was Bonyth, I'd be looking at this game like, why is XuanXuan not playing like this when I played him? Like, it just kind of seems like nothing is really working out for him, and he's just kind of losing every possible interaction that happens.
Yeah, this is about as bad as it gets in TVT. He's going to have a really rough time establishing his own 3rd base. He has to remake the barracks just so that he can add on factories. Everything is going wrong for XuanXuan right now, and that gives so much breathing room for Mihu to come over across the map and set up his own contain.
Yeah, and Mihu is going to do just that right now. I mean, like, XuanXuan's 2nd base is already very, very late by comparison, but if he can't even like get a 3rd base at a reasonable time, I mean, Mihu's already taking a base behind this, and he's also winning the attack up front here.
XuanXuan's just like got his head hanging low, like, what am I even meant to do against this guy? Nothing works out for me. He's pretty checked out of this game already. Looks like we're going to be going into a 3-0 lead for Mihu. This guy just looks unstoppable, man. He's so good. I just don't even know what to say about it. He's just a complete player. All three matchups, Mihu is so good at. Whereas XuanXuan, you know, he's pretty good at that aggressive style in TVP. He's really good in TVZ with that aggressive style, but he doesn't have an easy time in TVT as a result. And that's why playing like Mihu tends to work out better across the board, because XuanXuan is just not able to hang in this mirror.
Yeah, I think the other big advantage that XuanXuan had over Bonyth is because he's a Chinese player and he plays a lot more with the Chinese player and in the Chinese scene. I think all of the Chinese players might have a much better idea of the kind of playstyle XuanXuan usually pulls out. I mean, if I have access to replays of XuanXuan and I watch him all the time on the Chinese stream, right? Like, I have a pretty reasonable idea of what I would expect from him going into any particular game. But I feel like when he's playing against Bonyth, he really caught him off guard with a lot of different wild builds that you would not normally see any kind of normal Terran pull off.
Yeah, there was a lot of mind gaminess going on as well. That 2 factory was really weird because Bonyth saw that it was factory expand, and then he put the workers back onto gas. Then he threw down the second factory. Completely took Bonyth by surprise. But no way can he pull the wool over Mihu's eyes. I'm sure Mihu's played countless games against XuanXuan. He's really familiar with his style, and pretty much nothing is gonna, you know, get sneak behind the radar of this absolute beast of a Terran, quite literally the non-Korean Flash.
It's even possible that XuanXuan might get a lot of his build orders from Mihu, right? Like, the most unfortunate thing possible is if he's working with Mihu to sort of craft these build orders, but now all of a sudden you have to play him and he knows every build you're doing because he helped you make it.
Yeah, he's like, I taught you everything you know, not everything I know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that is quite unfortunate. I feel like XuanXuan doesn't even want to play the next game, just judging from the way he reacted on camera there. I think he's kind of dreading the final game between him and Mihu.
I think so, man. I have a very strong inclination this is going to be a 4-0. He seems mentally checked out. I think he just, inside of him, doesn't believe he can beat Mihu, and I think that's also contributing to the games looking like this. But both players are ready. Let's see if XuanXuan can turn it around. Jumping into now, Dominator. Spawning here in the top left, the Chinese champ himself, representing China, Mihu.
And spawning at the 3 o'clock position, we're going straight away to our XuanXuan. It is XuanXuan. Oh no, I was not ready. That went too fast. Yeah, that was the complete opposite of what I was expecting.
He's the young gun that's up and coming. Nowhere near to the same standard as Mihu though, but who knows, maybe he can pull it out of the bag. His Dominator, high to low ground transition from that natural to main. Maybe he can get away with something cheeky this time around. Who knows?
I wonder what happened to the player cams there. I feel like maybe the players don't really want to show themselves anymore. Oh, here we go. Now it's back. Maybe a little blip in production.
Yeah, there we go.
I also thought it was interesting. I didn't want to comment on it at the time, but I thought it was interesting that Mihu actually took off his headphones before the game was even won. Like, I don't know what was going on there. It's like he already knew.
Oh, that's... Oh, there's a 1 minute delay on the feed and the cameras are delayed. So yeah, kind of a little bit of a spoiler that the game was already over there. But do you know what I find interesting? That perspective is so important. Like, perception is like almost more important than actual truth and reality. Like, perception becomes reality, so much so that I think that against Mihu, XuanXuan looks disheveled. Like, XuanXuan looks like he's having a rough time on cam, and that he's not really put together. But against Bonyth, it made him kind of look like a devil-may-care attitude, where he was so comfortable that he was going to win that he didn't even bother like getting dressed and getting ready. But when he's up against Mihu, it looks like he's out of his element.
Yeah, it really actually does spin his entire vibe in a completely different way, right? Like, like one might be like he's so confident in victory that he doesn't even care. The other is like, oh, he's just like completely unready for what's about to come.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope he can mix it up. I want to see him try something different this time around. We'll see. Maybe he can keep it together and not let his brain kind of be overrun with emotion and actually able to navigate his way to a favorable position and find something that works. But Mihu going to be getting inside the main base with the SCV scout. Going to see if he's still mining gas with 3 workers or not. And he does see there's only 1 worker on gas, so we can no longer represent something like a Wraith build or a 2 factory.
Yeah, and there's only 1 Marine here to deal with the SCV. XuanXuan actually going for a bit of a greedy opener here. I think this game, I'm going to assume that XuanXuan is going to play a lot more standard, because if you only have 1 Marine, the barracks basically has free access to your base for a really long time.
Yeah, and there's 2 ways you can counteract that. You can be a bit greedy and only make 1 Marine yourself. Sometimes you can be a little bit aggressive and go up to 3 Marines and try and punish and then get your vulture there pretty quick. But I don't think we're necessarily going to be seeing that. Go on.
I mean, second factory goes down for XuanXuan, and
he's going to scout it.
Just the SCV. And why would he only make 1 Marine if he was going 2 factory? If he had 2 Marines, he could have killed the SCV.
Oh gosh, I mean, you're right. You're completely right. I guess he just thought that Mihu wouldn't come back in with the low HP SCV, but this is Mihu we're talking about. He knows that there's a range of play you could still go. He knows he's the kind of guy to kind of fake a factory expand and then go back into a 2 factory, and does identify that. This is really unfortunate for XuanXuan. Mihu's just going to tighten up back at home, make a depot to wall, land the barracks, and it's going to be really tough for XuanXuan to find value with this 2 factory. Oh, he's even taking damage onto this vulture early. Oh my gosh. Uh-oh.
Mihu completely on top of everything, even sniping the Marine before leaving and going back to his defense here. He's getting his base up way before XuanXuan. And I mean, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? XuanXuan is predictably unpredictable. I feel like, you know, the fake factory expand into second factory, XuanXuan has done this so many times that you just know it's coming. It's not even like really a fake out anymore because everyone's expecting it.
Yeah, this is the problem, man, with being a super cheesy player. Like, people eventually get a good read on like what your range of cheese is, and a good player like Mihu, he's going to quickly identify that and have an answer to combat it. Mihu going to be checking the natural expansion, see if he can get a 2-on-1 vulture trade, but the tank does pop out. He's still going to try and take the vulture trade anyway, but will maybe get, just barely gets out with the life of that vulture. I'm kind of blown away by how good Mihu is, man. Like, I don't see hardly any mistakes in his play, generally speaking.
Yeah, Mihu is just on top of basically everything. Like, I feel like we're singing the praises of Mihu a lot, but he truly is just a complete player. He plays like Flash. He essentially embodies Flash in the foreign scene. This vulture does in fact take, it even takes an SCV, but it doesn't manage to get the full scout off. But I feel like if I'm Mihu, I already know that this is coming.
Yeah, I mean, this is not too bad for XuanXuan. He's already got 2 siege tanks in the face of Mihu. The bunker gonna act as a sandbag to buy a little bit more time for Mihu's own siege mode to finish up. XuanXuan going to be picking off the supply depot as well, but Mihu's already prepared for that. He's got a depot ahead of schedule, waiting for that siege mode to finish, and it just now kicked in.
This is actually a very scary position for Mihu to be in. I feel like his siege mode is a little bit late, and because of that, he can only siege up barely in front of his command center. So XuanXuan is actually close enough to be able to, or just barely not close enough to be able to shell the
oh my gosh. He picks up the low tank with the SCVs. Now he's on top of the siege tanks. Just when you thought it was going okay for XuanXuan, he completely loses all 3 of his tanks. He has 1 more showing up, but his tempo is starting to evaporate. Has a Goliath to show up and maybe see if he can maintain this contain, but I don't think Mihu's that worried anymore.
Yeah, Mihu just has an answer to everything. I mean, this time around, XuanXuan decides to go with his initial first 2 tanks. I think this timing hit a lot earlier than other timings, but if you only have 2 tanks, then you can totally do something like pull all your SCVs to deal with them, and you won't even lose that many. The Goliath coming up to try and get up close to the tank and not take any siege shots, but the reinforcing tank deals with that, and he comes down and deals with the other tank as well. XuanXuan is in a lot of trouble once again.
No matter what puzzle XuanXuan presents to Mihu in the way of unit trades, Mihu's like perfectly navigating them. Like he's got like everything kind of mapped out when he's actually engaging these weird situations. Like he's been there 100 times before. He's now even got a Wraith out with these tanks. He's making a control tower so he can also maybe go into dropship play. So even if XuanXuan does manage to establish a foothold on these pizza slices, there's always going to be something Mihu can do, like landing some Goliaths or Vultures in the main base, or just dropping onto the siege tanks. Like, XuanXuan's in so much trouble, I think.
These are the kind of games that just make me in awe of just how crazy the skill gap is in StarCraft, because I'm also looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, Mihu is playing so incredibly well. How is it possible that he can't even like look at like a Korean player? Right? Like it's like the Koreans are actually just completely destroy him in the same way he's destroying XuanXuan right now.
Yeah, but I think players like Mihu are getting ever so close to being like on the bottom rung of those pro gamers. Like I don't think he's quite Scan level, but I think he's almost at Scan's level. Like give it another like 6 months or a year, and I think eventually this guy is going to be like a tier 4 Korean level of play. It's absolutely insane how flawless he's able to play this StarCraft game, man. Overall, it's super impressive.
Yeah, Mihu is absolutely dominating in this series, and I can totally see him matching up against a lot of the not quite tip-top Korean pros, but a lot of the ones who are considered to be very good.
Yeah, I think like it won't be long until he's able to beat players like Calm, right? Like he's not that far away.
Or like Bishop. Actually, would he be considered better than Bishop?
Maybe. I mean, Cop is a pro gamer, and Cop is, I don't think, on the level that Mihu is at. I would actually say Mihu is like way better than Cop, and we see Cop in the Pro League quite a lot.
Oh no! I think the game is going to end soon with the cameras revealing a little bit too much information. But honestly, it's not a result that anyone is. It's kind of over at this point. Like it's only a matter of time before Mihu just kind of rolls in.
I think anyone that's played StarCraft enough can see that this is a losing position for XuanXuan. Like Mihu could throw the game, but I don't think it's going to happen. Getting on top of these siege tanks on the high ground with a beautiful spread of mines.
Oh,
look how flawless this execution is from Mihu. He's an assassin, man. This is absolutely blowing me away with just how efficient he is. Like, of course he's ahead in the game, but the efficiency in the trade, the execution of the attacks is just like almost second to none.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like a form of art on its own, right? The way the mines were perfectly spread out and they all connected with the tanks here. These SCVs going to come up here and try to bust this, but it doesn't work. XuanXuan GG's, and it's an unfortunate 0-4 loss for him.
Yeah, I did anticipate a 4-0 there from Mihu, not just stylistically between these two guys, but just Mihu being a way more solid, well-rounded player. Whereas XuanXuan, yes, his aggression works in TVP, yes, it works in TVZ, but he has a real hard time in this TVT mirror matchup, and you can see that on full display here today, getting absolutely crushed by Mihu in the winner bracket finals, 3-0, and then in the grand finals, 4-0. I'm a little bit sad that Bonyth went down to XuanXuan. I would have loved to have seen a rematch between Mihu and Bonyth, but it is what it is. These things happen. Thanks so much for joining us from 2025 in this Bombastic StarLeague. This is the way we're wrapping up this season of BSLs. We will not be joining you for a little bit of time, but I look forward to Zero putting on another show soon to start off 2026. What's the exact date of the next BSL, Zero?
To be honest, I don't know yet.
Zero could
He's
unmute
muted.
and-
Yeah,
He's
I am
muted. He
talk
doesn't
to us.
realize he's muted.
Wait. I am unmuted for the viewers. Okay, I don't know yet, but
He doesn't know yet.
But yeah, I am unmuted as well on the stream.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know when it's going to be, but probably within like a month we will start the qualifiers, like something like that. I will take like some break, so hopefully my daughter will be born, and then we will be able to start.
Nice,
That's an important moment for Zero. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where BSL goes next in the following year.
Yeah, big shout out to Zero for, hosting the Bombastic StarLeague. He does a lot of work, and he's got 2 kids with a third on the way. Like, yeah, I don't even know how he does it. Apparently he doesn't get very much sleep, so give a lot of support to Zero. If you can, throw him some bones as well. Chuck a few dollars his way. So much effort goes into bringing you guys this BSL action, and we'll take a little bit of a moment now to talk about the Patreon supporters and you guys throwing us a lot of support, especially these big one-time donations like CRVT, $2,000, Jaziri with $1,400, Striker with $600, and so many more big one-time donations, keeping the lights on here at BSL. And also, last but not least, these Patreon supporters giving the monthly dollar as well. $200 a month, Andrew. $100 a month, My Fleeting Dream. $50 a month, Striker. $30 a month, Nikolai Parashin. And $20 a month, Chaozu, KJ, LML, Medino, Nicholas Schuler, Scheming Gypsy, Steven Robertson, and Tom. Thank you so much for you guys not only supporting Zero and the BSL, but the StarCraft community as a whole. It means so much to all of us, and it's always a blast to come here and cast these games for you guys. I hope you had a good time this BSL season.
Well, it's been an absolute blast casting the finals here with you, Shin. This has been an amazing set of games. An unfortunate end for XuanXuan at the very last part, but I don't know, man. Mihu is just absolutely so strong. Like,
he really is.
I don't know. He really is approaching that Korean level, and it's amazing to see. I mean, the series was bad, but this is looking up for Mihu, I think.
Let's just point out that this makes the games that Bonyth had against Mihu all that more special. Like, he was able to pull out like D-Web carrier builds and actually win with them against a player of Mihu's caliber. That's crazy. Like, I'm so happy we at least got to see a really good exchange with those two. That was a really close 3-2 series. I'm happy that we at least got that. But that's going to be it for us today, guys, and for this season of 2025 Bombastic StarLeague. We'll be joining you in a few months, or whenever it is, a month or two. I don't even know how long Zero needs, but he's got a bun in the oven. He's got a child to pop out and get himself sorted out first. So we're gonna be taking a little bit of a break, but we'll be joining you soon for the qualifiers and all the great StarCraft action that'll be coming up at the start of this year. Thanks so much, guys. I've been Jun. With me, RiceHat. Any final words?
No, thank you all. Thanks to Zero for organizing everything, and thank the audience, you guys, for watching and chatting and donating, supporting us on Patreon, supporting us by watching, talking about the games.
Yeah,
everything just means a lot to us, and we're all doing our part to keep this wonderful game alive and active.
Very well said, RiceHat. Well, that's going to be it from us. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Goodbye.